We are in my backyard. Today is the end of Ramadan, so I'm about to pick a few red peppers to give to my family to cook with. After which, I'm going to walk to my peanut field. This little camera the country director gave me is actually supposed to be for filming cultural events, but I thought since you can erase things easily, I'd do a little quick tour. This is my backyard. Here's my pepper plant. As you can see, here's my massive amount of basil and ginger and more basil yet. And my gourds over on the wall. These trees that look like this are moringa, and I've got several. There's some back here. This is a pigeon pea tree. There's some more moringa over there. Those two in the corner don't look that good, but and the dying out sunflowers. This is my bathroom area where I take my baths, using anything else you would do in a bathroom at home. Here's my house. It's not too messy right now, but it's not exactly clean either. Ya hamanta. Kana baja. Abaraka. This is my host brother's second wife, Amrata. Amrata yafo, assalamu alaikum. Nimu filmo pulu America. Yafo, assalamu alaikum. Inimba, now. Ya satang. Imana fila taala ni maki natala nimu filmo. Filmo it. So this is my satang, my host brother's wife. Yeah, for salam alaikum. Salam alaikum, America. Yeah. Yeah. Yo, mbabe konton. She greeted everyone in the United States. Here is the well where I get my water on a daily basis. And the women who are pretty much always around here somewhere. Alimbara. This is the bantaba where the men sleep all day. Unless there's some work to do. There's a bunch of goats. So this is the path that I take to get to the main road. Coming up here, we can start seeing cornfields. There's some pretty ridiculously tall corn here. It's probably about 10 feet tall, maybe more. Right now it's this big green mass, but during the dry season this is a trash dump. And during the beginning plowing season, they just go through and pick out all the rocks and old batteries and stuff like that, and then they throw that all away. And they plow the field and they plant corn, and it turns into this. Coming to the school up here on the right. It's a lower basic school, which means that in American terms it'd be like 1st through 6th grade. Hey Fatuma! This is Fatuma. She's my friend Modu Toure's daughter. She's deaf actually, but so I don't know I was greeting her loudly, but huh? Natal. Filmole. So. Mano. Honey. Bataji. I'm going over. Film. Film. Bataji. Ngata. Nato. Okay, that's about the usual conversation with her. So there's the school over here on the right. You can see a Lucena tree here and some eucalyptus. This one over here and the darker green one over there, those are mango trees. Right now mangoes are completely done, but even when it is mango season, these ones get picked dry pretty quickly because they're right by the school, so the kids destroy them. But typical toilet, bunch of holes in the ground surrounded by concrete. Over here you can see one of the two hand pumps in the village. The concrete thing with the goats on it over here to the right. Which right now it is broken. But we had those solar taps like the one all the women were at back there. So it's not too big of an issue. But these things, the Saudis built them a while back and they would be very nice, but they tend to break after a few years. So. And the solar pumps have only broken down twice since I've been here, which is pretty good. And they usually get them fixed within a day or two. Over there, where those two mango trees are over there, that's the football field. And there's usually at least 2 or 3 games a week. Sometimes other towns play on our field too, and I think just because it's kind of equidistant between different places, so it makes more sense than one team having to travel a lot further. This is another big mango. This is a little baobab tree right here. There's one, I'll point out a bigger one on the right over here after I pass by it. But right now it has leaves. When it gets to the dry season, it'll drop all its leaves, but it'll have these big pods that you crack open, and there's this white powdery substance inside that they make kind of a juice or a frozen thing out of. This is a big baobab tree over here. And this area here is where they get mud to make bricks if they need to make houses or anything. A lot of the time over here too, this pit used to, now it's kind of a pond, but it used to just be a big pit where they dug mud out of. So now we're coming up to the main road. It's a cloudy day, which is nice because otherwise it's pretty hot right now, especially with the humidity. It was hotter in the dry season, I think, technically, but just the humidity now makes it feel as hot, if not hotter sometimes, I think. So this is the main road. As you can see over here, we got some problems with it kind of washing out. Actually been several times they've had to fix it, and to my knowledge there are no plans for certainly any government assistance to really fix it properly within the next year. So I've been talking to people, it looks like next year is going to be a real problem, just being able to get out of the village, because this road is essential for anyone who wants to leave from here. Otherwise you have to go, it's not too far, but you have to go maybe like a mile and a half that direction on foot. But you have to go at about 5 in the morning when it's still pitch black, and there's actually, I don't think it's a big deal, but a couple times I've done it. One of the times I heard hyenas and baboons and stuff off the side of the road, but I don't think they'd bother you. It's just kind of a little bit unsettling. So these are peanut fields here. This one's a pretty well planted one. They had been completely weeded clean, so there was none of these little sprouts of grass between all the peanut plants, because this is a peanut plant right here. But just with the rain, the grass sprouts up literally the next day, and it'd be a bit ridiculous to keep this weeding done all the time, and they don't have the money, and I'm thankful they don't have the money for herbicides to use all the time. On the right over here, we've got more corn. Actually, I think this stuff right in front of me actually may be millet. They're almost indistinguishable initially until either a tassel or this long, thin millet stalk comes out of the top. So the ones in the back, though, those are corn, because only corn gets that tall. And this over here at the end of this peanut field, this is a rice field. This is a Nerica rice field. You can tell because it's dry. There's no water in between. It's a high ground type of rice. All the wet rice fields are a few kilometers down that road I pointed out, because with the rains now they get flooded, so there's no need for irrigation. If they were going to do it here, they'd have to somehow flood these fields, and there's no nearby water source, and they don't really have the technology to do that. So, but this is Nerica rice, which that's just a short term for new rice for Africa, which is supposed to get really good yields and be easy to grow, but I've heard some kind of contradictory things. I'm not sure exactly what the stance is on it as a whole now, but at least they can grow it here as opposed to having to go all the way to the river. There's some peanut fields here too, and past these peanut fields, I'm not going to walk over there because it'll take way more time too, but there's an area probably about an acre or so over here. It starts where these big trees are, that we planted cashew trees about every 5 meters. So once the dry season starts, we'll fence those in, and hopefully in a couple years they'll have a lot of nice big cashew trees and they'll be able to harvest those. Which that will mean possible income and definitely a lot more food in the area, which that's a good thing. But here we're coming up to my peanut field. Which it did look like this field here pretty much, with all these high weeds here, just to give you some context so it doesn't look like I didn't do anything to it. But here's my field. It's not as dense as some of the other ones. I think the seeds I got weren't that fantastic. My host wife sold them to me. Either that or just when the rains came it washed a bunch of them away, but kind of give you an idea of what one looks like. And even though it's a waste to do it, I'm going to pull one up so you can see what the root looks like. Here's a little one. It doesn't look that healthy in the first place. But basically, if you just... Oh, well, it's not going to work anyway. We'll try a little bit bigger one. Here's another one. So if you just pull it up, here's what the peanut looks like initially. It's just a little white kind of bulb, and if you crack it open here, you can see how it's forming a kernel, but it hasn't really formed yet. Eventually it'll become a peanut. So that's my peanut field. About a month or two I'll be able to harvest the whole thing. So, and that's kind of a basic look at the countryside. This is Barakunda in Woolly district of the upper region of the Gambia.